Hello, welcome to Surviving Disruption. I was super excited about going live today because I was going to go outside and do this live from my backyard because it's a beautiful day. It's a little warm, but I thought, what the heck? Well, I went outside, started getting all set up, and the neighbor started cutting their grass. So here I am back in my office doing this live. Like I said, I was looking forward to going outside, but I knew you wouldn't be able to hear me over the grass cutting. So decided to come back in my office and do this quick live on what is emotional safety. Uh, have you ever heard of the word emotional safety? Emotional safety means feeling secure, accepted, and supported enough to express your thoughts, feelings, needs, and boundaries without the fear of judgment, shame, or retaliation. It's the foundation of trust and connection in both personal and professional relationships. I was working with a client this morning, actually, and she has had this fear of judgment almost her whole entire life that she's been holding on to. And as we were talking, she has this fear. She's newly married, and she's had this fear of being judged or not being able to express her true feelings. And she's been holding on to this anger that has happened over a year and a half ago. An incident happened, and she's been holding on to the anger for so long that every time she tries to approach a conversation, that anger gets, intensified. And so we've been working. She just started working with me not too long ago, and so today we really started to dive into how our thoughts can intensify our feelings, especially if we allow our feelings to stay stuck. And so, learning this emotional safety is really important because when we feel emotionally safe, our nervous system is more regulated. It allows us to think more clearly and communicate more effectively. And for my client, she's been communicating a lot of times out of frustration. And also, she's been feeling this chronic stress or feeling like she's overwhelmed. And the lack of emotional safety will lead to chronic stress, overthinking, and people pleasing, or maybe even withdrawing, or this emotional numbness. And emotional safety plays a major role in healing from maybe the trauma that we've experienced uh, or the loss that we maybe have in our life. And without it, we will stay in that survival mode: fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And that's what my client was experiencing. She's experiencing this people pleasing tendencies all the time. Or when she gets in a conversation, her her way of keeping her safe, because this emotional safety was her frustration. So she was not experiencing this. She's not, she's never really taken a look at that. Her feeling of frustration and anger from a situation that happened a year and a half ago was stayed stuck. So as we did some work today, and I'm going to share a somatic technique at the end of this exercise, or after this training is over, I will end with a somatic training like I have been. We did one of those, and she did feel like she was releasing some of that stuck emotion and allowing herself to explore some of the thoughts that were keeping her stuck in that. And so this emotional safety that we experience, it allows for this healthy relationships, and it allows for conflict resolution to happen from a place of more with empathy than from a place of frustration. It allows for open conversations. She's, my client was now experiencing that she will be able to approach, a situation differently. And so learning how to pause sometimes in conversations gives us that ability to recognize that emotion that we're feeling. It increases our emotional intimacy and allows for honest expression. Signs that emotional safety is missing is that we constantly feel like maybe we're walking on eggshells, or this fear of saying something wrong. You might feel dismissed or minimized, or that your words are being used against you. You may feel more anxious and guarded, like you have to hide your true self. So, how do we cultivate this emotional safety? Well, I am going to be doing a 2-day training in the middle of September, and registration is now open. It is a free 2-day workshop, but I am having a VIP upgrade that you would get an hour of coaching with me after the workshop is complete by scheduling that. So with the VIP upgrade, you can get that. But that 2-day workshop, I'm going to be talking more about this. How do we have emotional safety? And so learning how to validate our emotions, and doing that, we have to be more aware of our emotions. So learning more about all of the emotions that we're feeling, learning how they get stuck, and practicing non-judgmental listening and presence. And part of my 2-day workshop, I'm going to give you one of my rooting rituals that I do every day that allows me to be more in touch with my emotions and how to release them when we are feeling them so they don't stay stuck. Other part of emotional safety is setting clear boundaries. And so learning how to recognize if we're falling into that people pleasing and setting boundaries for ourselves, but also, with other people, building self-awareness and understanding our triggers more, and understanding what our needs are and expressing those needs and not assuming that people around us understand what we need. And so in my Root, Rise, Receive workshop, I will give you one of my rooting rituals. We're going to talk a little bit about how we rewrite those stories that we keep in our head. Like my client this morning she's lived with the story of, I'm not good enough. And so that story does trigger her emotions and intensifies that frustration. So she's learning how to rewrite that story on top of learning how to release her feelings. And so her nervous system will be more regulated, and she will not respond with frustration. She's going to be responding more with the way she can communicate herself more effectively, and she's going to be more empathetic, and she will be able to respond to other people's needs differently and not from that place of frustration like she has been. So again, we've been using my somatic therapy exercise cards that I got from a workshop, and we are going to pull one of these cards now before we end this live. But again, as I'm looking for, as I'm getting ready to pull a card, um, we're going to pull a card to do one of the exercises. And as I'm pulling a card, remember to subscribe to my channel so that you can get notified when I have gone live and when I post another, training or tips. Also, in the description of this live is the link to register for Root Rise Receive. And registration is up, like I said, now. And there are early bonuses. When you sign up early, there are some bonuses that you will receive into an email that you share on the registration link. And the other thing that you can subscribe to is my monthly subscription. It's a low membership. It is called Aftershock Society. And once a month, I will go live. Once a month, I will have basically like a hot seat coaching. So whoever joins me will be able to have, ask a question and get coached on it. And I'm also going to be providing tips in an email that you, like overwhelmed women, can use every day in their life. So that is a membership that I am just starting. It's called Aftershock Society. And that is in the description as well, the link to register for that too. So like I said, I'm going to pull a card and we will see what we can do today. All right. The card is sighing breath. So the sighing breath technique is designed to provide a rapid and effective approach to easing tension and stress. So by integrating deep breaths and with a robust sigh, you are going to effectively unwind and dispel accumulated stress. It is advisable to adjust the pace and intensity of this technique to suit your own comfort level. So you would stand or sit with good posture, keeping your spine straight and your shoulders relaxed. Make sure those shoulders are nice and relaxed. You're going to inhale deeply through your nose, focusing on filling your lungs with air. Allow your stomach to move outward as your diaphragm expands. So we'll breathe in. Make sure those shoulders are relaxed. And then you're going to exhale slowly and audibly. So you'll make that sighing sound through your mouth, releasing the air again with that sighing sound. So we should be able to hear you if we were near you, releasing that air. And imagine while you're sighing out, you're letting go of any tension or stress with each sigh. So you would keep doing that. And as you do it, concentrate on that sensation of sighing everything out. You'll also concentrate on that breath filling your lungs with, the comfortable feelings, that, stress-free, and then you're going to release again with that audible sigh. Be mindful of your breath journey from the entrance through the nose to the release through the mouth. Repeat this sequence several times, ensuring each breath is intentional and accompanied by that sigh. And allow this breathing and sighing to bring a sense of relaxation to your body and mind. Visualize the breath and sigh carrying away any stress or tension held within your body for that day. And after completing this exercise, take a moment to pause and reflect on the calming effect and overall well-being that you're feeling. So I hope you enjoyed that breath technique. That is something that actually I did work on with my client this morning, was visualizing the feeling that she wanted to feel and then exhaling that feeling that she had been feeling, all that anger that she'd been keeping inside, and sighing it out. So that was actually something that I did with my client this morning. So again, make sure that you click all those links in the description and register for Root Rise and Receive and my membership, monthly membership, because then you're going to get a lot more tips and bonuses your way. All right, we'll see you at the next time.